Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's card's we're going to start off with some blending. Now this is like the previous card, my Halloween one. This is box standard regular cardstock and I wanted to try something a little bit different again. So I'm using Coastal Commander Stampin' Up ink, and this is about 300-ish GSM cardstock, normal cardstock, nothing fancy, not watercolor, not Bristol Smooth, you know, just normal cardstock and a regular dye ink. To be fair, this wasn't quite the blue I was going for. I wanted a really pale, soft blue in the background. It didn't quite turn out that way, but I still love how this turned out. So in the end, instead of having this sort of center piece of color and then just gradually going out, fading out into white, it didn't work out that way. So I just carried on and inked the entire thing. Still leaving more of a center area and some white area. I then spritzed it with some water with a distress sprayer, and then to give it that sort of texture, and then I used my Ranger Perfect Pearls in Perfect Pearl color. That's been in that, you've probably heard that 1,000 times. It's been in that jar for about that spray for about 10 years and it's still going, and it's a light mist that it puts over there. It's actually a nice bottle. It's a cosmic shimmer, can't talk, spray bottle, and it works. It's just the finest mist that goes on there, so it works really nice just for that subtle shimmery background, which for Christmas is great. I actually found some gold, what's this stuff called, mirror cardstock, and I was really chuffed when I found it. I believe this is some Stampin' Up from whenever I had this last, and I love it. I love how the gold, it's the shininess that I wanted, and I love how this actually turned out on this car. This is the Sunday Drive Spellbinders die, and I'm going to use the With Santa add-on. And the number plate for this one says ho ho ho. Isn't that cute? So I of course did it in red. I've done it in sort of red, white, gold. There's a bit of black on it, but it actually works, funny enough, with the black, white and gold. It works. There's something about that combo. It just works so well. And then I love having the red with that sort of background color, that sort of aqua kind of sort of color. I love that combo together. I just think it's a beautiful combination of color at Christmas time. So I'm still figuring out how to get all these pieces together. So this is only the third time. If you watched my previous 2 videos, you'll know this is only the third time I've actually made one of these little cars, and there's a lot of little pieces. So you know, that's why I've prepped some of this so that you don't have to watch me. It put them all together. So I'm just lining up Santa here in the car, trying to get him lined up where I want him, and he's really cute. It's really sweet. And there's even a Rudolph. I mean, I'm saying it's Rudolph, it's the back of his head, so it could be any one of the reindeers, but I'm going with Rudolph. He's everyone's favorite, right? I know you shouldn't have favorites. It's like having, you know, you don't have favorite kids, right? But it's got to be Rudolph, come on. So I'm just adding in all these, I'm trying to putting them in the order so that when you put the card together they are in the right order. That didn't make any sense, but it kind of did, and so that they look like they're inside the car, and it's one of those funny things, you know, you put the steering wheel on, you can't really see the steering wheel, but you know it's there and you know that it makes sense that it's there. So I'm getting glue everywhere, by the way, when I'm doing this, but that's fine, it's fine. So I'm going to also put the wheels on now, I believe, just trying to finagle some of these pieces, make sure they're somewhat straight. And the wheels do go a certain way as well, so just make sure they sort of bulge out a little bit on the outside, or at least that's how I feel like they should go. I could be wrong, but for me they look best that way. as if they've got a little bit of, I guess it's the way the car sits on the road. I don't know, I know nothing about cars, so but it just looked the best that way for me. Don't think it would make that much difference if they went on the other way around. It's what's pleasing to your eye. So now I'm going to get all these bits of tape off and get him and Rudolph on this panel that I've made. I will mount it onto just a plain white card base. I just think that it ties in with the color of the car that he's in, and also it's sometimes something like just a classic white card base is just that. It's nice and classic and clean, and it looks really good. So even though you've got your splattered and inky background, you can still make something look quite elegant and smart, I suppose. Is that the right way to say that? So I'm just going to get him stuck on here. Now, I did this and then I sat there going, this doesn't look right, because it's like there's not enough going on, right? So before I get to the next, to adding some more to it, I just felt like it needed finishing off, and it was kind of half done. So first I'm going to put this foliage that you get with the die set, with the Santa add-on die set, for the car, for the Sunday drive, and it's got some little poinsettias, and I'm just going to pop them together. There's two sizes of the little flower part, and I'm just going to layer them up just to give them a little bit of something. And what I do is and I know you can't see it very clearly in the video, but I actually turn the petals so that the petals are in between the other petals, if that makes sense. So the top one's petals they're not lying directly on top of each other, they're slightly off, so that it looks like a full flower. And then there are these tiny little leaves, and honestly I didn't really need them, but I just put them in there anyway. I die cut them. I thought, why not? Stick them on. Not sure they really add anything, but they're there. And this is where I sat and thought it needs a bit more doing to it. So I'm going to put it onto the card base. This card base, I believe, is slightly smaller than an American A2 size card. It's probably about 4 by 5 1/4, I want to say. It was just a card that I had, and I thought I'm just going to use it. So it's maybe a little smaller than a sort of standard size. But I think the card still fits on there quite nicely. It's not too small on the card, or the card's not too small for the card, if that makes sense. So I'm just going through some of my embellishments, and then I kept looking at them and I was like, no, I've got gold, so silver, and to me, I don't want to add silver embellishments if I've got gold going on. That's just what works for me. You don't have to do that. You can totally mix it up. And then I had these little gem things from Stampin' Up, and these are actually in like a champagne-y kind of color, so not totally gold, but they kind of worked with this. So in the end I just took a couple of the really tiny ones and put them in the middle of the poinsettias, but that still wasn't enough. So in the end I dragged out some Lawn Fawn Home for the Holidays stamp set, and there's actually a little greeting in there that just says Season's Greetings, and I thought that was perfect. So because I do have some black in the car, I'm going to use the same white cardstock, and I'm going to stamp it in some VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and then I'm going to trim it off with my paper trimmer. But I'm just setting it to one side to let it dry, because that ink does stay wet for a little bit, so you don't want to smudge it and stick your hand through it. I've done that a few times. So and had to redo things. And then because I still thought the top wasn't going to have enough, my sentiment's going to go at the bottom, I found I still had some of the gold mirror card, or shiny card, I don't know what it's called these days. I still had some of that left over from Stampin' Up, so I die cut some snowflakes that I had. I believe they are from First Edition, which are another stamp company, or part of another stamp company, or something like that. I think I got them at Hobbycraft many years ago, but they're nice. There's a variety of sizes, and so I chose couple of the little ones, and then the sort of next one up. There are some that are much bigger than that in the set as well, so they're really, it's a nice die set. So I'm using my Tonic Tim Holtz paper trimmer. I love this thing. If you do not have one of these, you need one, just saying. It's so good, and it's so handy for little things, you know, trimming out little things. So I had some trouble because I couldn't line up the thing straight enough because it was such a small piece. So it's probably not totally straight, but it's straight enough for me. And I'm just going to put some foam tape on the back of the sentiment, and then I'm going to put that onto the card. I didn't ink the edge of it. I didn't, shocking, I know. I didn't ink the edge of it. I didn't do anything like that. I literally stuck it straight on. It's a cleaner looking card, but I think it's still just really pretty, and I was really chuffed in the end how this turned out. And I really like how the sentiment at the bottom, the stamped one, just kind of ties the whole thing together, and having a few snowflakes at the top. I love the look of this with the sentiment at the bottom and then something at the top. If you watched my previous Halloween one, you'll see the same sort of thing, similar sort of idea. And then I just used some more of those gems in the 3 different sizes on the 3 different sized snowflakes, and I think it just turned out really good. I don't often say that about my stuff, about my work, but I really love how that turned out. And I think that shiny card, mirror card, whatever we're calling it, is what makes it. So for things like celebrations or you know, anything festive, that kind of thing, I think something like shiny glittery stuff works so well. So I hope you like this, guys. I hope you enjoyed this kind of retro little car series that I've done this week, and I will be back with whatever comes next week. I have quite a week set out for you guys, so stay tuned for that, and I will see you in the next one, guys. Happy holidays. Bye.